Hello. Right, I'm just getting my act together here, so please bear with me. I hope you can hear me. I'm going to be bringing up my stream on my tablet here so that I can keep my eye on the chat. How the hell did I do that? Here we go. Righty. Well, there we go. Let's stick that up over there. Sorry about this. Not too organised, despite having hours to prepare for this and scheduling it in advance. Still not got my act together. So, there are 18 people watching at the moment. Thank you very much. 7 likes. Come on, people. Hit that like. Let me see who's in the chat. Just say hello. Holgrain, the champion, has returned. Thank you. I'm not, I guess I'm the champion, am I? Gabe Hay says, love your customs. The superior venom is one of my favourites, from Craig. There, he's up there. He's up there. It's him there with his big legs extending out. Holgrain says, love his Doctor Strange. Oh, Doctor Strange is up there, just next to Onslaught. That's Doctor Strange there. Hi from the US, says Nick Walker. Hello, Nick. Gentleman Death says hi. Hello, Gentleman Death. Zom813, I guess that's Zombie. Love these, and I love you. Ghost asks, how's the custom collection going? It's going slowly, but I get there, I guess. Michael Leal, excuse me. Hello, Craig. Nice to see you again. I was finally able to catch your stream on time. Thank you. Glad you're here. Nick Walker says, excited for the Sabretooth and Magneto. Good for you, Nick. Everyone's saying hi, Craig. Hi, everyone that's saying hi, Craig. I'm going to... disgusting. Gabriel Roman says, how are you today? I'm fine, thank you very much. Michael Leal says, I like your Ganon. Ganon is over there. God, mirror image. There we are. That's Ganon. Murillo Ricardo says, what do you think of the new Venom teaser? I haven't seen it. I have sworn off trailers because they make me want to kill myself. I refuse to be a cog in the hype machine. Sidewalk Close says, I love all your custom action figures. Thank you very much. Marvel Section says, what's up, bro? Do we still say that these days? Nice to see you again. Nice to see you too. Dalek News, who likes to comment completely random things on my videos very quickly. I see you there. Says, who's your favourite MCU villain? I don't really particularly want to talk about the MCU just now, but I don't think the MCU has had any good villains. Really, perhaps Loki is the only one that's been any good so far. Finn Motion says, are you a fan of Crash Bandicoot? That's random, but no, I'm not really. And Nick Walker says, looking for the Sasquatch bath. Well, people have been looking for the Sasquatch for a great many decades and no one's found it. Anyway, we are here because this stream is called Customising Live, Kang the Conqueror, and I guess I better do some customising during it rather than just talk shite the whole time, huh? Shite. Shite, Miss Moneypenny. That's my one impression. Everyone else sounds Indian when I do it. It's not great. It's not great. Righty, so I'm going to be making Kang. And I've completely forgot what I was going to say. Okay, yes, I'm going to be making Kang, and I've made quite a lot of progress on this already. What can I say about it? I've done quite a few live streams on my Instagram, which of course you'll all have seen because everyone is following me on Instagram. Nice. So I've done quite a lot of work there, and I've talked about this quite a lot, but I've kind of got to the stage where I think I want to put it on YouTube now. This custom is a bit different for me. You know that usually my three-step process is to get inspiration, then to research it, and then to customize it. So inspiration and research I can talk about as the stream goes on, but as far as actually customizing, I didn't really have a definite plan for Kang. I was kind of just doing a hodgepodge of things, and I'll show you some of that in a wee while. So Kang's a bit all over the place, but he's finally sort of coming together in my mind's eye and in figure form. The figure is kind of informing my mind's eye, really. I just translated that into phlegm for those people that don't understand English. Let me see. I do love the live chat. I do love the live chat. I know that the people watching this afterwards, hello, what kept you? Why is it taking you this long to turn up? Come on, people, get your act together. Thank you for watching it later. I like to read out the comments. I don't like to just answer a random thing. I'll read out the name of the person and the comment if I can, so you're tuned in on what's going on in the live chat as well. I'm so helpful. So helpful. Okay, live chat. Dalek News says, love Kang. That's good. I love Kang too. Cameron Carr says, hey Craig, quick question. Do you plan on making any more 60-second showcases for the future? I do indeed. I've gone off them for a while, but hopefully I'll get back into it. Marvel Section says, are you a fan of the Iron Spidey suit from the MCU? We've not seen it in action really, so I can't really say. And it's the MCU, so, you know, it's not going to be risky. Finmotion says, don't worry Craig, we still love it when you talk shit. Thank you. I love it too. Nick Walker says, someone found Mr. Fantastic in Kentucky. Has he fallen out of the negative zone, or perhaps just enlarged out of the microverse or something? What's Reed Richards doing in Kentucky? You wouldn't think that guy would go there. Can you find Mr. Fantastic in a Marvel Universe comic for me, please? Oh, you can. You can, because Marvel don't like him. Matan706 says, are you going to do the workshop video on Kang? Most definitely. Astor Production says he prefers the YouTube streams over my Instagram streams because he can watch it on my laptop. Yeah, it's the kind of people watching it back later thing that I stay away from YouTube for. Socopus says, do you still have the sign so people know what you're making? Because that was quite funny. I do. It's not so much a problem here on YouTube because the name of the video is Customizing Live, Kang the Conqueror. But when I live stream on Instagram, there's obviously no title for it. And the question, people come in, they go, what you making, what you making, what you making? So I came up with cards. This one, which I like to wear in my glasses when I'm on Instagram, so that I don't get asked that boring question. I should also probably get one that says, I don't want to talk about Marvel movies. Maybe I should just get that on the wall behind me. It would have to be in mirror image. This is written in mirror image. This is written in normal. It's this reverse camera thing. It's very challenging. And also this one, that's in reverse. It says, I'm making a cup of tea for when I go off and make a cup of tea. Anyway, so I am indeed making Kang the Conqueror. So without further ado, let's go on with it, huh? he said as he flipped the camera around and showed you nothing. Oh, but now that I'm off camera, I can take my clothes off. Oh, that feels so much better. Oh, customizing naked and live. Righty. Welcome to my workbench, everyone. I'm sure you've been here before. Look, I've got all my Kang research up there. Boop, 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 boop. Some Kang books down there that he's made an appearance in. I've got my jar of water, and so that I'm not advertising Asda spaghetti bolognese sauce, I've taken the label off. I really planned ahead for this. Righty. So, without further ado, let's bring on where I'm up to with my custom of Kang the Conqueror. It's a Secret Wars. Just trying to get my Gorilla Pod action. Oh, embarrassing. Robert OTT says, don't play with your wang while customizing Kang. But it's the secret to my customizing skills. I like to mix pre-cum with all my paints. Like, come on, you'll get taken off YouTube. Righty. So yeah, these are the two Kang figures that I have, and I'm just trying to reassemble mine over here so that I can sort of show them on the screen. I should have done that previously, but thick as shite, what can I say? What's going on in the chat while I reassemble this guy? Jay is weird, asks me. And now I've lost the question. Excuse me. Jay is weird. Have you got any interest in Cloverfield? If so, elaborate. My goodness, you're like a nihilist. Elaborate. Divulge. Command. I enjoyed the first Cloverfield movie, but didn't really enjoy the second one. And I'll get round to the Netflix thing soon, I guess. Aster Productions, got any new figures recently? I bought the Marvel Legends Black Panther figure yesterday from Black Panther, from the movie. Okay, I get it. Huge improvement on the Civil War figure, in my opinion. I got the entire Black Panther wave, and I've got the Lizard Build-A-Figure wave coming on Monday, and I got the Mezco Red Skull, and I got the Storm Collectibles Reptile. So I've been buying quite a lot recently, to be honest, and but don't tell my husband. No one must tell him, and whatever you do, don't make a video about it on YouTube that he can watch and find out. Shh. Nick Walker says, I feel the Toy Biz Legendary Rider's Vengeance is quite underrated. Oh, I'm sorry, Nick. He's terrible, and I can't help you there. No one wanted Vengeance, and the figure weren't that great. Azaz says, you should Valiant Comics, it's amazing. You should what, burn them? Okay. BDC Diesel says, good day, Mr. Warrack. Good day, Big Daddy Cool. How are you? Lucid Psycho says, I have a weird way of thinking about custom figures where the figure's consciousness is still intact throughout the customization. That is indeed weird. You may want to get yourself seen to. Oh no, here's a follow-up to that comment. But in the end, it turns into the character that you were creating from the start, physically and mentally. Well, there we go. don't know what to say. Um, Sage Forsaken says he was looking in the jar to try and see my reflection when I took my clothes off. I don't cast the reflection, of course, because I'm nearly 40. Nick Walker says, what is an extremely underrated Toy Biz figure? Oh, I'd have to give that some thought. Dalek News says, what do you like better, yours or the Legends? I mean, my figures are always better than the actual figures, right? Dennis Carradine says, you should make a custom Uncle Ben. No, Dennis, you should. CC Customs, yo Craig, what's your favourite Wolverine? Sorry, I fell asleep as soon as Wolverine was mentioned. What's your favourite Wolverine costume? I personally like the brown one myself. That's racist. But I'm trying to find some interesting designs to base a custom Lego minifigure on. I don't know, Wolverine could dress in a sock, or I don't know, he could dress up as Alaska Thunderfuck, and I wouldn't really give a shit. Wholegrain, how do you feel about model kits? I feel fine about them. I made the Bandai General Grievous, and I quite enjoyed making that. Michael Leo, what do you think of the Revoltech Yamaguchi figures? I don't have one. I don't have any of them, rather. So, what can I say? Yeah, I guess. I mean, people say you have to sort of hold them to play around with them to really get what they're about. So I've not done that. So I'll reserve judgment there and go with what other people have said. The aesthetic is not for me. I might add that, just a purely visual thing. BDC Diesel says, haha, you seem to be in a zany mood today. Yep, that's the heroine. CC Customs is going to go ahead and do a custom Wolverine and a sock. Good. Talk. That one channel says, I don't give a shit about your kids. Me neither. That's why they don't exist. Sockopus says, why does Alaska Thunderfuck sound oddly familiar? I swear I've heard it somewhere. Alaska Thunderfuck is one of the winners of RuPaul's Drag Race. She's the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race season, All Stars season 2. And she was a contender in season 5? Is that right? Season 5? Season 4? No, season 4 was Shadow Needle. Season 5 was Alaska. Nick Walker says, love Glenn's Serpent Society customs. Lucid Psycho, by the way, what's the hardest part when making a custom figure? Clearly, the hardest part is actually getting it on screen. Because I just don't. It's almost 20 minutes into this stream, and the custom actual figure has yet to make an appearance. So, without further ado, he said 10 minutes ago, here is my custom so far of Kang the Conqueror. He doesn't have a butt. Anus sold separately. Okay, so this is Kang so far. So, breaking it down, this is the Marvel Legends Sunfire body, crotch, and what are we calling these? Hips. And this is the Taskmaster Moon Knight hands, again the Taskmaster legs, and Spider-Man 2099 feet. The head is from the Magus, this dude. And the rest is sculpted. So, this Kang looks a little bit different from the general design of Kang that people are maybe used to. That's because I've drawn in a lot of Egyptian influence into this design. For those that don't know about Kang the Conqueror, he is a, well, in the canon of the Marvel Universe, he is from the 30th century, and it's a time of peace and prosperity, and he's incredibly bored there. So he makes a time travel device. It's just like that, from plans of his ancestors, and he travels back to ancient Egypt and he conquers them with his sort of future technology and becomes a pharaoh. And then when the Fantastic Four end up going back in time, they meet up with Kang, who was going by the name as the Pharaoh Ramatut, and they defeat him because he's not supposed to be there, and he heads back through time to his own time. But on the way, he meets up with Doctor Doom in the 20th century, and they have a bit of a conversation. And Kang likes the idea of Doctor Doom's sort of armour that contains all of the weaponry and whatnot. And then afterwards, Kang tries to return to his own time and overshoots, landing instead in the 40th, 43rd, somewhere along that line, century. And it's a time of war, and all humans are basically barbarians. No one knows how to use the weapons that are around anymore. So he draws on that sort of Doctor Doom's idea of making all these sort of battle suit weapons, and he creates sort of this 43rd style. That's why it's kind of like really weird. It's from a really far-flung future where belted tunics and thigh-high purple hooker boots are all the rage when it comes to being a conqueror. He conquers that time, and then he uses all that futuristic technology and general success at conquering to travel through time and attempt to conquer other periods. So this Kang that I've designed kind of draws a lot on his, of course, his battle armor, the standard look for Kang, but it also draws in that Egyptian sort of thing, which is why people will be noticing he has the sort of pharaoh's beard. And he has the uraeus, the sort of cobra, very stylized on his head. I also pulled the helmet much closer into his head. In Kang's original appearance, he, as you'll see here, his helmet was quite large, and it's still, in later appearances, it's still quite large. It kind of looks a bit stupid at times, as does Kang's general look all over. But I wanted to sort of pull the helmet closer into his head, just make it less ridiculous, but still keep the general sort of shape of it. And then moving down, I've got sort of the Kang with more. This arm is very much sort of Egyptian influenced. He's got the sort of Egyptian hawk thing, and then he's got the scarab on his arm. This bracer that he has here on his arm, the design for that is actually drawn from this. Can't focus on both at once. There we go. It's drawn from this, and this is a panel from the comic The Rise of Apocalypse. Kang was the pharaoh at the time of Ensabanur's mutation. So he is involved sort of tangentially to Apocalypse, but I thought I would pull that in to this design. It's Kang has, suffered consistent defeat from the Avengers, and it's been shown a couple of times that he returns to ancient Egypt where they love him. It's kind of like his happy place. So I kind of thought, the guy would perhaps take some of that with him in his armour. This armour over here, I've given it more of a sort of modern, sort of military padded sort of look, just because I want you to look at Kang and understand that there's sort of Egypt going on. There's obviously technology, and there's sort of war going on. I want his look to tell you who he is, which perhaps this design doesn't exactly do. You'll see that I've kind of redesigned the thigh-high boots as sort of panelled, armoured legs. Trying to keep the same look, the diagonal flare of the boot, but trying to make it less like a thigh-high boot, really. There we have it. And round the back he's got sculpting. You'll notice I haven't done any sculpting on the chest, and I'll show you that in a little moment. I do have a tunic to go over him. Something that I did do, because when I put the tunic on, well, why don't I just show you right now and we'll stop dancing around that subject. So let me just disassemble for a moment. And what I'm going to bring in here is the tunic that I have for him. It's a cloth tunic, and it was made by a fashion designer, actually, down in England, who also customises action figures. He is on Instagram as Scotticus Customs. That's COTTACUS_customs, Scotticus. And he's done a fantastic job. I did try and make this myself, but this was my attempt at making it. I didn't have quite the ability to make these sort of pleats that are very much a sort of look of Kang's thing. I wanted them to be very, neat and tidy, and the stitching to be all nice. I have painted this since it arrived, so it arrived from Scotticus. This is a previous version he made for me. It arrived like this, and I painted it, and then sort of damaged away the cape that's come off the back. Kang, his belted tunic is just that, but I've kind of redesigned it here to be a bit of a cape as well. Kang is sometimes seen with a cape, and I like that look for bad guys. That adds some drama. So yeah, I've added that in there. So let me... So it slips on here. And then I couldn't, well, and this goes on here, and then his collar piece will be glued tight down there. And so when Kang was deconstructed, his head and collar probably looked like they sat quite high up, and that's because the material adds quite a bit of height off his shoulders. You can't really tell, so I've had to sort of extend his neck up. So I've put a little bit of a toothpick in the top and just put some putty over it, and just made sure the head still grabs the ball joint tight. So it's only extended it a tiny little bit, but just enough to make it not look like he had very short neck, hunched shoulders. So that's there. And the cape is wired. It's not a huge cape. I didn't want him to have a huge flowing cape behind him, just a little suggestion of sort of battle-torn thing going on back there. And so that still allows him full range of motion to move forward and back, which is something I've got going on with this strap here in the front. Don't know if you would have noticed it when I had him disassembled, but he has this strange sort of tab here that the strap goes under. Don't know if you've wondered what that's about. It's essentially because Kang has this strap design on his armour that connects his collar to his belt. And I couldn't sculpt that because it's going over cloth. So if I just used this on its own, made it from plastic card, he would not be able to sort of bend forward because that hard structure, or even if this was slightly bendy, it would bow out from him and it wouldn't look right. So what I've done is I've actually cut a hole right through Kang's neck there, and the belt slots into there. Oops. When this is glued in place. The idea is that Kang he'll be able to bend forward, and he's essentially like giving himself a tracheotomy on his belt. His belt sort of moves through into his neck cavity. So the belt still stays tight to his body as he crunches down. See that difference? Whereas previously if he had crunched down it would have bowed out like that. So it's just keeping that bit of articulation in there. I'm quite proud of that. Took me a little bit of thinking. So yeah. There we go. What else have we got going on with Kang? His collar, you'll see it's pretty much Kang's normal collar. I've extended it out on his shoulders, given a bit of an Egyptian design to those as well. And his given him these holes on his collar as well. Kang's collar is quite plain, but I've added in some holes which over here you might be able to notice actually from the design of Iron Lad, who is a younger version of Kang. So I thought that's a nice little nod to Kang's history. Kang has been a few characters throughout his life, and he ends, well, one of the characters he eventually becomes after being Kang is called Immortus, the Lord of Master of Time or something. And while I could have brought in some Immortus designs in here, I didn't want to bring in things from the future of Kang. He hadn't become Immortus yet, so having Immortus sort of on him wouldn't have made a lot of sense to me. And also Kang kind of really doesn't like Immortus. He hates his future self, who's essentially settled down. Kang is a conqueror. He loves war and battle, and Immortus is very much almost a gardener of time. And Kang does not want any of that on him. So there we have, that's my custom of Kang so far. So I don't know what I'm really going to get up to in the video today. I've got a little bit of sanding to do, and then I'll probably prime him, because I think I'm almost done essentially with the sculpting. So really the thing left is for painting and tidying up. So before I get down to that, or as I get down to that, I can actually start sanding and take a look at some of the comments in the live chat again. I see it's been flickering away as I crapped on for infinite ages about this figure. So let me get a little bit of sandpaper and try and catch up. Where did I leave it? Lucid Psycho says the best part about customs is that you can easily pick and choose what proportions the figure should have, as well as what would work for articulation. That's quite true. The best part of customizing is you're essentially making a figure you want, and the version of a character you want. You get to be God for a little while and make your own little person just the way you want. Hopefully, unless you fuck it up. Oh yes, I also added in toe articulation to the Spider-Man 2099 feat. I used Action Figure Toronto's. Please check out his website. Action Figure Toronto's technique there, where you cut the foot and then I put a pen through it, make sure it articulates, and then I glue it up and sculpt it back together. So I've done that. I wanted to sand his inner thighs. Nick Walker asks, what upper torso would you use for a cannonball figure? I would use an AIM soldier upper torso. Sounds good to me. I won't disagree with you. I'm not... I think it depends what cannonball you kind of want to make. I take it you're talking about the sort of flight suit version. Then yeah, probably that AIM guy's fine. I don't know, would the Vulture from the movie be an interesting look? I'm not overly familiar. If you want to make Cannonball when he was a member of the X-Men, then Cyclops would be a good place to start, right? I mean, it's basically the same costume with different belt design over the top. As Oz says, my guess is your Kang's Whip costume, work in progress costume design version would be inspired by Ramatut and Immortus. Yes, well, you're half right there. Of course, I said I didn't go for the Immortus look, but yeah. Dalek News asks, who's your favourite figure in the Black Panther wave? Mine's Iron Man. Namor is mine. But I've not seen the movie yet. My opinion may change after I see. I don't have a lot of connection to the characters that were in the wave. I don't read Black Panther comics very often. So the characters are a little bit lost on me beyond T'Challa himself. So yeah, Namor for me. Black Bolt was terrible. Iron Man was pretty good, but it's of an armour I don't particularly care about. Michael Leal says, how long did it take you to sculpt the Scarab? It looks fantastic. Thank you very much, Michael. Not very long. I mean, it's essentially just a blob, and then I just put my knife into it, and then made sure that was the right sort of proportions, and then tidied it up afterwards. A lot of what I do with sculpting, people who watch me on Instagram may have seen, is done with a knife after the sculpt has cured. So a lot of the time, to get these neat lines. I've lost my knife. It's a bad thing to lose, isn't it? Could be anywhere. Well, this isn't the knife I like to use, but a lot of the time what I'll do is I will wait for the sculpt to cure, and then I take my knife and I sort of run it along the edge, and it gives me a really nice hard line. And that's essentially what I've done for a lot of this sculpting. I didn't sculpt it like that. When I sculpt, it gets, it's a bit blobbyish, that sort of surface. A lot of the work I do is by sanding and scoring and shaving and cutting things down. There's my knife there. That's my knife. That's my baby. Sage Forsaken says, do you have casting material you would suggest? I cast with I think it's, is it called Easy Flow? I think it's called Easy Flow 600 or something like that. That's what I use to cast. And to make molds, I just use a latex rubber. Chuck Civil says that's a brilliant piece of engineering. Chuck's talking about the tracheotomy belt. Thank you very much, Chuck. Ace00731, would you consider Kang a villain? Or would you consider him someone who's bored with troubled thoughts from the future? Does he mean to hurt? Haven't read anything with him. Kang is very much a villain. He's a piece of shit. I mean, he may be bored. He may be doing it. He does it because he enjoys it. He doesn't want to hurt people, but he gets enjoyment out of conquest and war. So he may be conquering evil armies, he may be conquering good armies, he may be overthrowing dictators or whatever, but at the end of the day, he doesn't care after the fact what happens to those people. So he will often, he will conquer a place and then become its ruler, and he gets bored and he just goes away. And in his quest to conquer, he really doesn't have any particular moral code beyond the code of war. He'll use whatever weapons and tactics are best suited to what he wants to. He essentially wants the surrender of the enemy. So yeah, he's definitely a bad guy. Glacius X2 says, hello Craig, I'm starting to dip my toes into figure customizing, and I've got a question. Do you have any recommendations how to make a flexible coat for a figure? Now that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? No, I do not. Flexible trench coats have proved elusive to the action figure industry and customizers since superheroes in trench coats became a thing, essentially. I've never seen anyone really do it really well. I've seen some cloth ones, but like I've pointed out with Kang here, putting a lot of clothing on your figure tends to bulk it up. It's why Barbie has very inhuman proportions, is so that when she is dressed, her clothes don't look super bulky on her. Her body is very unrealistic underneath to sort of make that illusion happen when she is fully clothed, and that's something that superhero action figures haven't quite got to the point yet. The Mezco figures, they tend to have very standard sort of Marvel Legends style body underneath that ends up, when you dress it, it looks very bulked up, puffy almost in the clothes. So adding a trench coat onto a figure is a challenge. A challenge indeed, but if you can solve it, you may be the guy to solve it. give it a crack. BDC Diesel asks, where's the hubby and why isn't he bringing you tea? My husband is next door. He's playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch, and tea time in the Warwick Sanders household happens at 8 p.m. It's only 6:45 at the moment, so we've got some time before either he makes tea or I am forced to make tea, because you have to force me to make tea because I'm a lazy shit. Nick Walker says they need to release again Strife from the Jubilee Wave. No, they don't, because I got him. I don't need another one. Giorgio Lozopa says, can't wait for you to finish it. Can't wait for you to finish it. So far, looks awesome. Thank you very much, Giorgio. I can't wait to finish it either, because then I can get my life back and stop thinking about this blue-faced piece of shit from the 30th century. Ooh, angle change. Sage Forsaken, in response to me recommending he use Easy Flow, says he's using Alumilite right now, but the resin cast came out with good detail, but it's harder plastic than I would like. Yeah, Easy Flow is a good plastic to use. If you want to go back and check out my maybe the final part of my not the finale itself, but the final part of my either Pennywise video diary or Crablante video diary, I'm sure I talk a little bit about making casts in either of those, so I may get the details of what materials I use better in those videos right. Michael Leal says, what legs did you use for Kang? I've used, these are from the Taskmaster, the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon version. He was in the Red Onslaught Captain America wave. Yeah. Right. The knee pads here are from a Nika Prometheus David figure, and I've just cut them off and sculpted over them. Nick Walker says, are you excited for the Toys R Us Sentinel? Not particularly. Haven't seen anything of it, so not holding out hope that it's going to be anything more than the Sentinel we got a few years back in the, whatever that thing, Gigantic Battles or whatever that Marvel Universe Sentinel was. How long... Oh, Dalek News asks, what do you think of the Infinity War Legends? I don't have them. I've not seen much of them. I don't really care for any of the movie figures, as you know by this point. Songbird, I'm interested in. King Cobra. I'm sure there's another comic figure. I've forgotten who it is. Who is it? Please pipe up in the comments, and I'll probably say I don't want it because I've forgotten who it is, so probably don't want it. Giorgio Lozopa says, how long does Citadel paint stay on the figure without rubbing off? Time is not the problem with paint rubbing off, it's friction. So yeah, it's if it isn't rubbed, it won't come off, is the answer. And that's the same of all paints. Venom24 says, any paints you recommend, and do you use any clear coats or sealers? I use, in general, if I'm painting with a brush, I use Citadel Games Workshop paints. I've got a bunch here. For airbrushing, I use Vallejo Model Air paints. These kind of guys. And for priming, I again use Vallejo primer. Again, that's with an airbrush. And for sealing, I use Krylon UV resistant clear acrylic coating. So there you go. What are you? Sorry. Ghost says, only the action figures seem to have a blue face. The images in the comics at the back, he's white. So is he a human or alien? He has a blue face. This is the mask that Kang wears. Underneath, he's a Caucasian male from the 31st century. This is Kang, and this is his younger self. This is him without his mask. But Kang in his battle suit has a blue mask on that moves. It's not a static mask. It's some sort of future technology that allows him to emote through it. Essentially, it's a very, very sort of strange design for a face. Craig McLaughlin says, are you going to build any kind of diorama piece like his chair? He reminds me of the conceptual work you did with Doom. Love your conceptual work. I did think about doing a chair for Kang, a sort of a throne, but in sort of doing my research for Kang, I wanted to do a more sort of battle ready version. I believe that in the cartoons, in the Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, Kang does appear on a throne, and it's the it's the source of a lot of his power, and when he fights the Avengers in that cartoon. But really, in the comics, that's not really the case. The sort of thing that Kang is seen most often on is this really embarrassing, transparent sort of reclining chair. And I didn't want that. This Kang is very much the sort of warrior version that I'm going for. I want him to appear sort of battle worn, so sitting on a throne is not the sort of look I'm going for here. Also, Kang doesn't, in the comic, his sort of chair was just sort of the source of his power, his time travel abilities. But given that Kang tried to work all these into his armor is all he needs, really. I don't see him as a sort of throne kind of guy. Like I said, once he's conquered and he sits on a throne, he's bored. So I decided not to go that way. Thank you for the question regardless. BDC Diesel asks, do you have any of your cool concept art to show for Kang? Yes, I guess I can show that. I'll show this in a much more structured way in a workshop, but I can do it here as well. So this is my sketchbook. We can go through here to. This is where I decided to start Kang. So first of all, with Kang, I did a sort of a brain. What do they call that? Brain fart, clearly. I don't know what it's called. Brainstorm. These are the various sort of titles that Kang has gone by: Warlord, Pharaoh, Time Traveller, Conqueror, Ruler, Scarlet Centurion. He was that. Of course, Ravona is a big part of his history. The Timekeepers are as well. Immortus is the Forever Crystal, Timely Industries, Interchronal Madman, Egypt, 4086 style time suit. And then I started thinking, you know, how could I sort of make his thigh-high boots less embarrassing? And then started to move more into actual research, you know, looking at the comics. This was very much me looking at the art in the comics and sort of seeing how it his costume works with the belt. And then on this side, I was looking at how it works without, you know, if he doesn't have the belt, how does this sort of thing work? And it's a poncho, essentially. So that's that. And then I've done the quick sketch of Iron Lad's collar. Then moving on to sort of starting to draw like an action figure and plotting the sort of armour pieces onto it. See that there. Then you've got the start of that bracer part. And over here, trying to start, you know, sort of Egyptifying his look. Doing some designs. Scarlet Centurion design up here. Looking at sort of Egyptian collars. The cobra sort of look. Thinking about, you know, trying to make the sort of snake. How can I stylize that? And then I was also thinking, you know, beyond Egypt, you know, Egypt had that sort of very important crossover sort of period with ancient Rome. So thinking, could Rome figure into the shoulder pads sort of thing? So looking at that. I ended up not going with that. It was a bit too much, in my opinion. And then there I've got the sort of, as we see very much has come out on the figure, the tunic at the front with the cape at the back. And they're doing some more sort of designs. Kang has these lines that go down his face. And they're very much the sort of trademark of his mask. And I sort of made them stop at his top lip, though. I just thought that added a bit more interest to his mask. And also, rather than go straight down, as they're often seen just going straight down his mask, I've sort of really exaggerated them to follow the sculpt, give it much more expression. And there, that's where, so I did this a long time ago, and then Crablante came along and got in my way. Then I got back to Kang eventually. You see, here's the front of the tunic and the back. And I thought maybe I could do some sort of Romany toga thing. Nope, didn't get very far with that at all. And then there, that's me kind of coming up with this final design for his collar. So that's the sketches I did for Kang. I also went to the museum and got some photos of sort of Egyptian stuff, and there's some sort of ancient weapons, Roman weapons, sort of swords, that kind of thing, to work into him. So yeah, thank you for asking about that, BDC Diesel. There you go. Izuka Midoriya says, do you use Milliput or Epoxy Sculpt? I use Milliput. Ryan Price says, do you know Warhammer? I do indeed. The guys in Games Workshop, when I go to buy my paints, always ask me about it, and I'm like, guys, I don't care really, I'm just here for the paint, thanks. Bye. Juan Zepeda 5 says, I started customizing because of you and Glenn. Greetings from Argentina, and thanks for the wonderful advice on customizing. Cannot wait to see your next project. Thank you very much, Juan. Sage Forsaken says, I can't wait for the Sentinel. I wasn't collecting when the old ones came out and have made some Sentinels of my own. In fact, I plan to buy some of those American football robots to make them. Good luck with that. I did that myself back in the Genosha, Fallen Genosha diorama that I made. I used some of those American football robots. Tac Customs, hello, says, Craig, do you reckon you might enter the summer Foosh custom swap? No, I will not. Sorry about that. And Tac follows up with, I started watching One Punch Man after your Secret Santa custom, Craig. Sorry about that. Was it good? I didn't watch anything beyond the scene that Crablanti was in. One Punch Man isn't for me, I'm afraid. A lot of people have contacted me saying, can you make this character and that character? Obviously I say no because I don't take commissions, but I also say I don't know who that is. I didn't One Punch Man didn't jump out at me. I didn't become a fan through my work on Crablanti, unfortunately. I'm sure it's a lovely cartoon though. BDC Diesel says he would go very well with the Apocalypse you made me. Indeed, he would. You can't have him. BDC Diesel is, of course, the recipient of the Apocalypse I made, and Ozymandias that I made a few years back. Very deserving customizer. Happy to make those for him, even though I didn't know it was for him. I hope they stayed together. Oh, you know. Righty. Nick Walker asks, what does Immortus look like? Immortus is, he has a big hat. And, what better way to show you Immortus than to look at the fantastic Kang Immortus Avengers story, Avengers Forever. He said as he struggled to find a picture of Immortus. This is Immortus. We'll go right to the... Immortus is one of those bad guys who will often appear as a floating head, so trying to find a good image of him. Here's Immortus. So Immortus' design is not especially exciting. You know, he's very much a roby, kind of scholarly guy. But that's in there. That, my dear, is Immortus. King's Gaming asks a question I don't quite understand. If you had to choose Spider-Man 4 or 2 mil, I'm not sure what that means. Sorry about that. Mysterious Reviewer says you should make a Spawn custom. You could go crazy with the cape. Spawn's custom, unfortunately, doesn't make any goddamn sense in the real world. I don't think it can exist as an actual object. The amount of folds and directions it seems to come from. So while it's a cool idea, when you actually start looking at it, it's not actually a physically possible thing. Also, I don't like Spawn. Tac Tac Customs, are you excited for any reveals from Toy Fair 2018? Yeah, excited for them all. I don't know. I mean, I can't be more specific because I don't know what they're going to reveal. So, Tac Tac Customs also says Avengers Forever was an excellent storyline in his opinion. Indeed, it's one of my favourite Avengers stories. Teaches you a lot about the Avengers. It's very good continuity work they do there in that. Paul Turbo says that Immortus looks like the Wizard. He does a bit, doesn't he? In that he's a white guy with a beard and a big hat. So yeah. Quick question about Kang. I see in the background that Iron Lad is in there. Who's Iron Lad, if you don't mind me asking? Iron Lad is the young version of Kang. Kang, over here, travelled to his own past to meet his younger self and try and convince him to be more conqueror-y from a younger age. And young Kang went, no, that's really mean. And he took Kang's technology and became Iron Lad, went back in time and started the Young Avengers. That is Iron Lad. John Strand, the rotten piece of crap that he is, asks. No, I love John. Speaking of Spawn's impossible cape, how do you think Hasbro will handle Cloak's cape? I've no idea. Really blandly, I expect. Okay, right, so I better actually do some work on this. I think I might prime it. Am I comfortable? I'm at the point where I've done everything I need to. Azoz says, Tony Stark being an agent of chaos for Kang was kind of silly. You should read Avengers Forever. It explains it. Tony Stark was an agent of chaos for Immortus. Immortus was impersonating Kang, and it explains why Tony Stark was so easily made into an agent of chaos for him. It had to do with the neural net that Tony had worked into his armour and his body at the time, which allowed Immortus to influence his thoughts and turn him into a murderous piece of crap. So there we are. Kairos1 says, Craig, do you use oil paints on your customs? No, they would take like weeks to like dry. No, that's insane. Isn't it? Paul Turbo says, Kang is looking pretty badass even at this stage. Thank you. Drew Supra D, I love the D, says, I absolutely love what you're doing here, Craig. It really reminds me of Glenn's Customizing Live. Those were the best. Thank you for this, Craig. Thank you very much, Drew. Dalek News says, what's your favourite Thanos figure? There's not a great selection, is there? My favourite Thanos figure is my own custom Thanos figure. And you can check that out here on my YouTube channel. Kairos one says, no, it takes 2 days for shading and eye makeup. It's great. He's talking about the oil paint there. I'm not a face customizer, you know? I'm not that kind of guy. Um so yeah. Um I haven't watched much about or looked into how the people do the amazing makeup jobs they do on faces with their pastels and all that. But I'm not really into that. So I'll leave that to people who are much more capable at that kind of thing than myself. Odiasu says, thanks for sharing this, Craig. I'm currently working up to a penance custom. Look, don't judge me. And I'm using this as inspiration to pull my finger out my bum. Well, as long as you share that footage with me afterwards, I'm happy to inspire you. Penance. Is that the Gen X penance? Was that? I'm getting confused now. There's also the one from the Thunderbolts that was Speedball. Was that penance as well? Were they both penance? I like the Gen X one. I really like penance actually. I like penance and I like M and I like M plate. I've wanted to do an M plate custom for some time. Dalek News in the latest instalment of his What's Your Favourite question series asks, who's your favourite Iron Man figure? It's I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care about any of them. Maybe the Bleeding Edge Iron Man, Heroic Age Iron Man, if you want to call him that. And I repainted him, and I like him much better now. But the Civil War Iron Man was quite good. I have the SH Figure Arts Age of Ultron Iron Man. I think he's really cool. So he's my favourite, I would say. Tac Customs. Craig, have you ever attempted to try other paints rather than Citadel? I'm currently experimenting with Army Painter paints. Yes, I use I use Tamiya, I use Vallejo. I use them for different things. Vallejo is my airbrush, Citadel is my brush, and Tamiya I use for transparents. So I do use other brands of paint, but they work for me, so I'm not really going to start changing that up. Nick Walker says, tried to make a custom Superior Iron Man using Series 8 Iron Man. Series 8 Iron Man. I'm not sure which one that is. Oh, is that the what they called at the time Modern Armour Iron Man? He comes with the base that he's blasting through and it's got Ultrons on it. Odiasu is making the Thunderbolts penance. Oh dear. I know you told me not to judge you, but I just judged you. I'm sorry. Mysterious Reviewer, are you excited about Black Panther? Not overly, no. Craig, do you use a sewing machine for your customs? Yes, I do. I just bought it recently and it makes making capes a bit easier. A lot quicker, anyway. I'm still not great at it. Thanos Ruler, any tips for sculpting in general for someone who's looking to start off sculpting? Go and check out Glenn Webb did Customising 101 about sculpting. Go check that out. And then go and watch my video diaries here on my channel. You'll see me get down to sculpting and you should be able to pick up some hints and tips along the way. There's plenty of resource out there for you already though. Bajoro 1983 is asking about the epoxy on the neck peg. I've already talked about that, so afterwards you can go and watch back this stream and find out the secret of the extended peg and why his butt just fell off. Sage Forsaken, did you like the Runaway comics? I absolutely loved them when they came out, and as someone who doesn't love the movies, have you given the show a shake? I certainly did. I was all over the show as soon as it came out, and then I was not over the show about 2 or 3 weeks later. I loved the Runaways comics. because his well, not his, they were, you know, they were really quick, light-hearted. Um, they had a fast pace. They were bright. They were wild in the, you know, the just the amount of things they threw in there. And then the TV show, I was watching maybe episode 7 or something, and they still hadn't run away. You know, I was just like, you know what, fuck this. I ain't got enough time in my life for this shit. So I stopped. And they were also trying to give all their parents like sort of like redemption stories, like they were actually doing what they did for the right reasons. And I was like, come on, they're supposed to be pieces of shit that the kids run away from and are really threatened by. Um, it was just bogglingly dull and boring. So they were. Tat Custom says, Craig, if we could have a UK based exclusive Marvel Legends set like Aldi Marvel Legends, what characters would you like to see? Oh, I'm not sure. Um, as Oz says, was Mr. Fantastic's dad related to Kang? Yes, it is believed, but he's from like the 30th century, so there's a lot of history between now and then, but his ancestry is unclear. His it's believed that Kang's original name is Nathaniel Richards, spelt weirdly with like apostrophes and Z's and all that kind of thing. So looking back, he assumes that his ancestor is Nathaniel Richards, the father of Reed Richards, who went on a journey through time. So there's this whole sort of convoluted, roundabout, mysterious, isn't he related to Reed Richards? Isn't he related to Doctor Doom? Sort of thing going on that's neither here nor there really, but yeah, he may be related to Reed. Kairos one says, Craig, can you consider making a dark side custom? Would be nice to see. No, I don't think so. Not really my thing. John Strand says, I know that you don't read much DC, but if you like Runaways, I think you would like Gotham Academy. Okay, I'll take that on board. Righty. Enough shite. I find it difficult to take the jump to just bloody paint them. By the way, I've only got 50 likes on this video. What's that about, guys? Excuse me. 51. That's more like it. Thank you very much. Oh, it just went up by 10. Thank you very much. I'll have to do that more often. Nick Walker says, God save the Queen. Yeah, because no one else flipping will. Righty. Kang. Ashton, is it Cheney? Is that how you pronounce your surname? I'm trying to remember from when you joined me on Instagram. I hope I got it right this time. Ashton is saying this custom is ahead of its time. Is that a pun? That's nice try. Sage Forsaken says he was liking this stream so much that he didn't think to actually like it. Well, thank you very much for actually liking it. Kairos1 says, Craig, do you think the colour scheme of Kang and the Constructicons, that's a weird parallel, is a villain mostly colour scheme? Yes. Green and purple is very much the opposite of red and blue, as heroes are often red and blue, and to you know, it just visually impacts a lot of people when the villain wears the opposite colour from the hero. Um, so yeah, Kang is green and purple, Green Goblin, green and purple. A lot of Spider-Man's bad guys are green, you'll notice. There's Electro, there's Sandman, there's Doctor Octopus, the lizard, of course, not that he can help it. But he does then compound the fact by wearing purple trousers. The Hulk, in fact, is green and purple, which may be responsible for why people think he's a villain in the Marvel Universe so much. Also him smashing shit all over the place. Righty. So I'm going to just heat this up and take this apart. Nick Walker asks, how many multiple mans are you going to get? I only need the one Jamie Madrox, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan, so I'll be getting him for his Build-A-Figure part, and then probably using him as fodder. Sorry, Jamie. What I'm doing here is just heating things up with my heat gun, just so I can pull them apart. The heat gun can get quite fierce at times and totally melt things if I'm not paying attention. Also, because this has so much sculpt on it, I want to be careful when I'm using the heat gun, because it makes the plastic very flexible, so that when I push it, the plastic is obviously, it can sort of flex out of the way, but the sculpt can't, so sometimes that'll crack the sculpt. So I have to be quite careful when I'm sort of heating and disassembling things after I've sculpted them. Cinnamon Roll Bowl asks, how much does it cost to make an action figure for you? I'm not sure what angle you're coming at from there. I don't take commissions and I don't sell my action figures, so if that's the question, then it's, moot. But it can cost me, just the resources, the time, the figures I buy, the places I go to do my research, the comics I buy. It's unquantifiable, really. It really depends. Sometimes a custom could be just made out of fodder that I had in my drawer. It may appear to be nothing, but then that figure may have cost me back quite a lot back in the day. So it's just sometimes difficult to nail down a cost on it all. Ashton Chain says his name is pronounced Chain, so I apologise for getting it wrong previously, Ashton. He says, by the way, are you going to see Black Panther? What's your opinion on the character? I will be going to see Black Panther. Quite excited for the movie for no good reason. Usually don't get excited for the movies. Now there's a bit of tearing going on in that peg, so I'm a bit hesitant to take this off. I won't push that. It looks fine, but yeah, I think if I were to pull that, that would just come off. So I'm just going to leave that arm on there, actually. Yeah, won't risk it at this stage. Um, the Black Panther movie looks good. The character I quite like T'Challa. Um, he's not actually in the comics. He's not that nice a guy. You know, he he makes difficult decisions for the benefit of his country, which makes him quite unpopular with a lot of the Marvel Universe heroes. So I quite like that principle he has, um, which unfortunately can make him come across as a huge asshole. Like he does seem to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder a lot of the time, but that's because of his sort of his position and you know what his role in Wakanda is. He has to defend the country. He's not just there to um, say save America. He's there to save his country. Um, so yeah, that can make him come off as a bit of a dick sometimes. So I find the character interesting, if not entirely likable. But that's kind of the point of him. Um, I was quite surprised in Civil War that he had a bit of a story where, you know, I was surprised at the end of it that he didn't go through with killing the bad guy, taking revenge. He took a more sort of morally sort of correct path, whereas I think the comic Black Panther would have taken that hard decision. So it's interesting that this movie Black Panther is perhaps more likable than the comic Black Panther. A little bit more heroic, morally heroic rather than sort of duty wise being heroic. So that's quite a nice change for him. So the prospect of a Black Panther movie where I just didn't like the character and that most of the people wouldn't like him because he's an ass. Well, he's just doing his job. A bit of an asshole as a side effect. I wasn't very hopeful for it, but yeah, now that he's much more likable, I'm looking forward to actually liking the movie. Kairos1 says, Craig, are you getting the new Cable figure and Deathlock? Yes, I am. I hope to have them soon. I've ordered the whole of that Sasquatch wave. Mysterious Reviewer Craig, do you read any of the recent Spider-Man comics? If so, are they any good? I have a Marvel Unlimited subscription, and Spider-Man is one of my favourite comics to read on there. It's fast-paced, it's interesting, something new is always happening. You may not like it if you want, the standard Peter Parker thing that's been going on for the past 60 years. But if you want, sort of exciting, different Spider-Man stories that are very sort of high stakes and move Peter Parker forward as a character, you may enjoy them. Craig McLaughlin says, I'm going to get several multiple men just because he's going to be great fodder. Yeah. I mean, he's just isn't he just normal figure? Not sure what fodder you're going to get from him that wouldn't get elsewhere. Maybe just a plain person head. Nick Walker says, I'll have the Toy Biz Apocalypse Build-A-Figure. I'll use the new one as a normal size and Toy Biz as he has changed his size. Yep. Kindness1 says, Craig, what is your least pleasurable part about customizing? It's a lot of the sanding down, the joint work that you probably can't see that I've done here. It's disassembling the figure and sanding all that down so that when I come to paint, there shouldn't be many paint rub problems. That's a really unenjoyable part. But any part that doesn't really work out, it makes me have to go back to the drawing board as a bit of a dick as well. Let me see if I can get this leg off. Tony Killer Bray says, what do you think about the Venom movie? Well, I've not seen it. Unless you mean Venom, the movie from like the late 70s or mid 70s that had Oliver Reed, and Klaus Kinski in it with the snake hunting those kidnappers. That movie? That Venom movie? Nah, of course not. If you're talking about the trailer for Venom, which was released recently, I haven't seen it. I've given up on watching trailers because they're just lies. Craig McLaughlin says that Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man, comes with 3 heads, which I never have enough of for some reason, so that's why Craig's saying he'll be good for fodder. Yeah. Sounds good then. Clearly I haven't paid any attention to that. Righty. So I can take his foot off as well. Tony Killerbray asks, what websites do you use to buy figures from? I go from Kapow Toys, Comics and Cocktails, and ID Toys. That's In Demand Toys. Kapow is my main one. I've ordered toys from. I got the Storm Collectibles reptile from Comics and Cocktails, and I'm getting my Lizard Build-A-Figure wave from ID Toys because Kapow didn't have it up for pre-order. Walker says Shartmus is going to be happy with Proxima Midnight. She has double jointed elbows. Craig, do you like double jointed elbows on female figures? I like figures to have as much as articulation as possible, but then balancing that with the aesthetic. So I would really like Marvel Legend female figures to have the double jointed elbows again. I think it's ridiculous that they don't have it. I don't quite understand it. I can understand where they're coming from. They think there's someone in the design department doesn't want them because they think it ruins the aesthetic of the women, but they need to get a grip, really. Kairos One says, Craig, do you know if any customizers are using 3D printing, making parts for their customs? Yes, some of them do. Very close to my heart, as people who follow me know, is Action Figure Toronto. He is currently making a 3D printed hover chair for Professor Xavier, and it looks amazing, astounding. He's done his research, he's got the sizes right, the general shape right. It looks fantastic, and I'm sure you'll all be blown away when it's finished, because I'm certain I will be as well. Illusion Comics says, if there was one character from an alternate reality you could move to the mainstream reality, who would it be and why? Oh, blimey, there's a question. I'm not too sure. Nothing springs to mind, is jumping out at me. While I have a drink of water. No, there's nothing coming to mind there, unfortunately. How about yourself? Tony Killerbray says, Forbidden Planet seems to take so long to get stuff in. Yes, I would never, ever go with Forbidden Planet for Marvel Legends. Never. They are super behind. They don't seem to know what's going on. They can't guarantee that they'll ever get them in. They don't know what price to make them. They just slap stuff up on their website. I've never been impressed with the stories I've heard about Forbidden Planets. Marvel Legends business. Ashton Chain says, what did you use to make the knee pads? They are from a Nika Prometheus David figure. Michael Wisman's in the house, everyone. Michael is a great action figure customizer and ACB artist. Please go check out his channel. He's doing a lot of work on his channel, so please roll over there quickly and give him a subscribe. He's doing a lot more. If you want frequent content, Michael is your guy to go to. He's putting a lot of effort into his channel as of late. So there you are. Hoth Rebel 86. Do you ever make any dioramas? Not often. I have made some alleyway sort of stuff just to go behind my figures, and I made a diorama to go with my Doctor Doom custom. Okay, this airbrush looks like it needs a good clean, but we'll see if it can. See if it can handle. I've lost my primer. Lord Nagatron says, Craig, I came as soon as I... Oh, did you? Oh, I see what you're saying now. Sorry about that. Craig, I came as soon as I saw you were live. You're my favourite artist in the action figure genre. How kind of you. Odiasa says, holy shit, are we up to painting? My favourite part. Well, seems to be. Customizers at all? Yes, I'm in customizers. They're hot. No, he asks, Craig, are you into Transformers at all? I was into Transformers Generation 1 as a child. But not so much into them now. And the toys are kind of shit, to be honest. So, there we go. Excuse the noise. Pardon me, I had a curry for dinner. Now, what were you saying? here. Oh, to top up my gun again. What did I miss? What did I miss in the chat? Ace00731 says, Craig, you left your vibrator on, man. That's not my vibrator. This is far too soft for my vibrator. Illusion Comics, is there any comics you want to be adapted into a TV movie or TV show? Which one? No, not really. Because they're all going to be anyway. Whether they're good or not, whether you like it or not, you're going to get a fucking movie of it. Hoth Rebel 86 says, have you heard of a product called Suguru? Yes, I have. I used it on my Ganon custom, and I also used it to make the hair for my Spiral custom. Chuck Civil says, how would you go about repairing a joint or peg if that arm had broken? Get a screw or some wooden dowel or something and work it out, man. If you want to check out Bill Maru Toycanic, he has some guides or some sort of show and tell of how he does his toy repairs. Always useful. Tony Killer Bray says, would you not want to sell your customs so you could get some money after all your hard work? No. Hoth Rebel 86 says, no gloves? Yeah. I like people to look at me days later and go, man, what has he been doing? What kind of nasty hoe has he been finger banging? And I'm like, my husband. That's who. Tac Customs, Craig, I think you should do a Fallen Avengers trophy room diorama to go with your Kang custom. He ain't never beaten the Avengers. If you ever see any fucking trophy of Kang having beaten the Avengers, that's nonsense. I won't stand for it. Kairos1, Craig, do you use grey primer? Yes, I do. You'll see that, maybe. airbrush isn't performing very well. I knew I should have cleaned it out before I filled it up again. I'm a fool. What can I say? I'm a fool. I find that when I'm spraying with primer, even when I thin it down, the needle gets quite clogged. Excuse me for a moment while I try and clean this out. Ashton Chain says, how do you sculpt the stretches and increases on your figures? I'm not sure what you mean there, Ashton, I'm sorry. Could you elaborate more? Craig McLaughlin says, Avengers 4 is supposed to incorporate time travel. I don't personally want them to shoehorn Krang in, but would you ever want to see Krang in the movies? Do you mean Kang? Or do you mean Krang, the Atlantean warlord Krang, that's one of Namor's arch nemesis? Would I like to see Kang in a movie? Don't particularly care. Just I'm not fussed about what they're doing in the movies. Ashton Chain has come back and elaborated more on what he was talking about. He asked, how do you sculpt the stretches and increases on your figures, the bandages and stretch marks on his gauntlets, for example? I just sculpt them with you know, a sculpting tool. There's no special technique to it. Just use your head to understand that with the bandages, they're wrapped, one goes on top of the other, so try to think in that 3 dimension. Don't make them too thick. These sort of things. Just use your eyes, you know, use your eyes to look first of all, and then sculpt what you see in a reference photo or something like that. Nick Walker says, do you like the icons line from Toy Biz? That's going back a bit, but no, I don't think anyone does, right? The icons line was the 12-inch figures that Hasbro has recently been trying to come back with. No, I don't like them. They're not for me. They're for I'm not a 12-inch collector kind of guy. I just dropped a piece of my airbrush on the floor. God damn it, Craig. Did I? Yeah, I dropped the spring. Could this be the end of Customizing Live? No, because I found it. That's one dirty, disgusting airbrush in there. You should be ashamed of yourself, Mr. Warrack. Sure, this is very interesting to hear my heavy breathing and sounds of frustration from the other end of the camera as I clean this airbrush out. It's a flattering light, isn't it? And a flattering, even more flattering angle. Right up my pointy motherfucking nose. There we go. Nobody comes to Customising Live to look at me, but tough shit. I never need this light. Oh yeah, this airbrush was filthy. It's a dirty airbrush. Now, Illusion Comics, what is your favourite comic of all time? That's a tough one, isn't it? I'm not sure. You, Illusion Comics, you ask these big complex questions of me when I'm trying to customise. Challenging. Silver Surfer Requiem's quite good. I like that. Made me cry. Tac Customs says, what's your top recent Marvel Legend, Craig? Recently? What's come out in Marvel Legends? I think the recent waves have been the Black Panther wave. Namor, I guess. I'm going to get the Spidey ones on Monday, so I'm hoping that Mysterio will be awesome. Here's hoping. Right, reassemble number 9. Ace00731 says he has his own 12-inch, so why should he collect more, if you know what I'm saying? Prove it. Hit me up on Instagram. Prove it. Oh, but if I do know, tell him because he doesn't know what he's saying. He's backing out now. Craig, which 2 Marvel characters would you like to see fight or team up that haven't before? With all the hard, tough questions this evening. I'd like to see I mean, they've all been round the block now, haven't they? I quite like when the Silver Surfer teams up with people. And Doctor Strange, I find them really good. Strong characters, but quite who they would team up with, I don't know. I've seen it all, or at least I think I've seen it all. Michael Westman says, how disappointing was the Venom teaser trailer? I don't know, I haven't seen it, don't care. Sage for Second says, I've lied and I am revealed to still have clothes on. I put them back on, of course, before I started cleaning this old piece of shit here. Ashton Chain, who's your favourite hero? Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, Storm? Is that it? I guess so. Hoth Rebel 86, are you Scottish? Do you like the Highlander? I am Scottish, and no, I don't like the Highlander. It's fucking terrible. The soundtrack of the movie's awesome, but beyond that, everything about Highlander is just awful. Oh, I should have turned the camera back round. Right. That water was clear a moment ago, wasn't it? Then I tried to clean my airbrush. To be fair to my airbrush, I was using black paint. Righty. See if I have any more success this time. Going a little bit better. Still not great. No. No. No, there's something blocking my airbrush. Sorry about this. Oh. Taking a heart attack and killed over. Turn that off for a minute. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, fucking airbrushes, man. Michael Leal says, how is the weather near you, Craig? I hope you have nice weather. I live in Scotland. It's generally terrible. Well, this is customizing for you people. Illusion Comics says, if you had one superpower, what would it be? The power cosmic. You can't go wrong with that, can you? Lets you do pretty much everything. Is that cheating? Tell it to collect us. Oh wow. Was that in there? That's disgusting. No wonder nothing was coming out of my airbrush. I just excavated a 3,000-year-old mummified corpse from the tube of my airbrush. Tantan Pascual says, what happened to the Secret Santa? What do you mean, Tantan? Tac Tac Custom says, wouldn't it be great to have NECA Back to the Future figures? No. No, it wouldn't. Would you say it's expensive making the average custom? Yes. Amount of time I put into it, certainly. Resources. The effort, sure. But you can make a custom from just stuff you have lying around, so it's not, doesn't always have to be super expensive. Right, please be clean now. It's always the worst thing with airbrushes, you don't know until you fill it back up with paint whether the paint's going to come out of it. Right. Tac Tac Custom says it's Groundhog Day. What one action figure would you play on that day? We don't do Groundhog Day here in Scotland, so nothing. I know what you mean, but I'm just not engaging. I don't know what figure I'd want to play with for the rest of time. Hoth Rebel 86 says, is Colin McRae still a hero in Scotland? We still love him in the States. Hoth Rebel, You've now asked me about Highlander and Colin McRae. Are you just asking me about random things that you think are connected to Scotland? Let me spin that round. Right, come on airbrush, you can do it. You clogged up bastard. Oh yeah. What a difference that clean made, huh? God, it's churning through the paint in no time at all. No. Oh shit, it's going on. Oh. Ahem. Ahem. Righty. Fill my airbrush. Seizing up again. Primer's just sometimes a little bit chunky to spray through for an extended period, so cleaning it out again. Sorry, what did I miss in the live chat? Tac Custom says, Kang the Conqueror says he can take you to any time period. When would you go? I don't go anywhere, Kang the Conqueror, are you mad? He put me in a futuristic concentration camp, as he does to everyone that he takes away from the time period. I understand you're asking me if I could go to any period in history, when would I go to? But I just go to now, because this is where my husband is, this is when I'm very happy, this is when the action figures are. Creative Negative C says, or just Creative C says, if someone said they would give you the Hulk superpowers, would you accept them? Maybe. Yeah, probably. I think I wouldn't have the psychological baggage that Bruce Banner has that turns him into an insane rampaging beast. So yeah, I think the Hulk superpowers would be fine. Oh ho 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 ho. Super Soldier 4 says, joined late. What head base is he using for Kang? I'm using this guy, the Magus. Adam Magus, to be specific. Sage Forsaken says, Craig, I love when you do these. I love when you do these. I get to customize with you. I still need to get up the nerve to start on a Marvel Legend. I mostly have made 4-inch figures. I mostly buy used figures and recycle them. That's perfectly fine. Do whatever's good for you. Look at these nightmarish fingers. Hoth Rebel 86, should Disney build a Marvel theme park? I don't know. I'm sure they have people on that. I enjoy Disney theme parks a lot, so yeah, I'm up for more Marvel theme parks based around their movies. Ugh, I guess so. I know. I don't just want to go in like Iron Man stuff and whatever, though, you know. Craig McLaughlin says, "Are you going to make any weapons for him?" I do have a couple of weapons made, but we'll save them for later. I think, if there is a later. BDC Diesel says, "Oh, this is like watching paint dry." Indeed, it is. You should try having to paint it and then watching it dry, which I know you have to. Swaggy Spodger says, "See you later, Craig. Can't wait to watch the rest of this later on demand. Thanks so much for the years of content and all the amazing art you put out there for us to be jealous of. Stay awesome." Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Hoth Rebel 86 says, "Your Pennywise custom was amazing. What do you think of the new It movie?" I enjoyed the new It movie. It's a bit of a non-event, not really scary. Inoffensive. Some ridiculously stupid changes. Including, making Richie afraid of clowns was ludicrous. Bev being a damsel in distress was ludicrous. Ashton Chain, any tips on making a Spider-Man custom? Not really. Nothing jumps out that's particular to Spider-Man. The webbing is a challenge sometimes, but a steady hand and forethought can help you with that. Sage Forsaken, do you think doing these live helps motivate you to finish the project? In a way, yeah, it helps with, for example, feeling that I can't just do minute details the whole time. Made me take, I'm aware that the audience doesn't want to see me just sand something all night, so I better get painting. There's that kind of push to show and entertain can help me a bit. Juan Zepeda 5 says, "Craig, did you go to university? If so, what did you study?" I did go to university and I studied Japanese. I have a Bachelor of Arts with honours in Japanese studies. So there you go. Tony Keller Bray says, "Would you ever sell customs again so you can get money for your long hard work?" It's asking me questions about selling my stuff tonight, Tony. I don't need the money at the moment. I could sell them for money. I think I could make a decent enough living off of them, but yeah, it's not something I'm really going to do at the moment. The Bearded Slasher says, "I'm still in awe of your Pennywise figure. I love how you basically Frankenstein figures together. Any other famous clowns you thought about making?" No, not really. Famous clowns. Yeah, I'm not really there. The famous clowns front. But thank you. Try to think of famous clowns, even like horror clowns. I'm not big on the whole clowns are so scary thing. It's just such a meme at this point. Thing that people say, jump on the bandwagon with. It's kind of dull. Rebel 86 says, "Konnichiwa." Konnichiwa to you too. どうですか? 元気? またスコットランドについて聞かないでください。Ashton Chin says, "Is any charter in the Marvel universe maybe is there any character in the Marvel Universe that you can compare to Batman? I'm not sure. Um, Black Panther's quite Batmanish. Is he though? Is he though? He's not really. He's not really. Someone like God, I've forgotten his name. Is it Nightwing? Is that his name? Because that's also Robin's future superhero. It's Dick Grayson, isn't it? Nightwing? Nighthawk. Nighthawk, sorry. Um, he's quite Batman-y. Especially the Supreme Power version of Nighthawk. One Zepeda5 says, what did you get from the Christmas exchange? I got a wonderful Mephisto figure. You can check that out here on my channel in the Secret Santa 2017 custom project finale video I did. Craig McLaughlin thinks that Moon Knight is similar to Batman. Yes, indeed, Moon Knight is much, much, much more crazy, though. The bearded slasher Iron Man would be compared to Batman. They both are rich and made their own gadgets to fight evil. Yeah, but in practice, you know, Iron Man is flying around in the sky, battling international sort of supervillains. Batman's a street level crime fighter. So while their setups are similar, the actual practicality of what they do is very different. So Nighthawk, I'm going to go with. They're similar in what they do, apart from, of course, when Nighthawk joins the Defenders and starts battling all kinds of crazy shit. Right, so there, you see, the secret to paint rub, people, is to really sand down and cut away the plastic so that it doesn't rub. To prevent paint rub, take away the rub. So that's what I've done there. Hopefully it's the same on both sides. Yay! I don't need to worry actually about this centre part because it's covered by his tunic. So I've done no detailing there really, but I got, you know, I also sanded that down as well, so there's no paint rub there. Did I do around the back? I've not painted around the back, but I've certainly sanded it down. So I still need to go back and spray some of the parts I missed, which I'm sorry is not immensely entertaining for people. So that's as far as I may go with this stream. It's 154 minutes long at this point. It's over 2 hours anyway. Over 2.5 hours. The bearded slasher asked me, am I looking forward to Dead? I'm having a cup of tea at the moment, by the way. That my lovely husband made for me. The bearded slasher says, are you looking forward to Deadpool 2? No, overly. The first movie was good, but it wasn't for me. Like, the sense of humour was occasionally funny. The action was really quite stupid all in all. Yeah. Just, it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but hey, well, that's not what... I'm not the audience for Deadpool, so... whether I like it or not is inconsequential. Ashton Chain says, do I think the Joker is overused or overrated? Perhaps he's both. He's fine. Like, I like him as another of Batman's villains, you know. It's the constant drive to have the Joker be everything in Batman all the time. It's just a bit much. So perhaps he's overused. Hoth Rebel 86, do you play any video games? Yes, I do. Console games, mostly. what flavour is the tea? It's standard Tetley tea. Paul Watson says, "I love seeing your work. You'll have to trademark to take away paint rub, take away the rub. Every time you have to say it, you could get paid. You'll be a millionaire." Yeah. If you say so. Perhaps I should. Maybe it would get the message out there. We could all wear t-shirts. Said, take away the rub. Dalek News says, "Great job, dude." Thank you very much, Dalek News. It's very kind of you. Bless you, sweetheart. The Bearded Slasher says, "Why don't we ever hear about Clayface in Batman, other than the animated series from the 90s? I liked that villain." Clayface was really no one before the 90s animated series. He was very, very obscure. And then reinvented in the cartoon as that huge monster of clay. So really, that's why he's no one outside of that. The cartoon is responsible. I mean, I tend to think of Clayface almost as much of an original creation of the cartoon as Harley Quinn was. They totally transformed what Clayface is about in the cartoon. So, yeah. In the comic, there's been a couple of Clayfaces. Yeah. I guess that's why it is. It just doesn't, just to sort of line all those versions up would take a crisis, wouldn't it? Ashton Jane says Two-Face and Mr. Freeze were good too. Mr. Freeze again was very much a recreation, redefined by the cartoon. He was just really a diamond thief before that, wasn't he? And then they gave him the whole sort of frozen wife backstory in the cartoon. So. Gulping my tea down. Right, gonna get a bit more spray of this black. Hopefully get that done. Let me see if I can open up some of these areas that I've forgotten. Please airbrush, please play nice. Let me get some more paper towels before I get started. I have 54 viewers at the moment, and 86 likes. Is there anyone in here who hasn't liked my video so far? It'd be greatly appreciated if you could hit that like button before I go all noisy. Again. Thank you. Silly Craig. Oof. Sorry, when you hear me sort of spraying off camera, that's me running cleaner fluid through my airbrush. Okay, so I think I've got them all sprayed black there. Yay! What did I miss in the chat? Ashton Chain. Says, name one character that could team up with Batman. Who would it be in the Marvel Universe? Ugh. I don't really give a shit for Batman, to be honest. I don't know what might be quite what would make Batman interesting. I don't know. Do not know. I don't know. Sorry. Don't have an answer for you there. Hot Rebel 86. Generally speaking, do you prefer comic heroes who wear capes and masks or not? I like there to be a reason one way or the other. I don't like heroes who dress as heroes for no good reason. I think a hero should wear a mask if they're hiding their identity, therefore they're protecting their family or people they love for whatever reason. And I also like heroes that don't wear masks because it's like Doctor Strange or that sort of thing. There's a reason for his costume, there's a reason he dresses the way he does, these sort of things. Michael Leal says there's always something peaceful about painting a figure. Yeah, I guess so. It's probably not the pumping, thumping compressor. So spraying it with the primer, as I say in some of my workshop videos and other sort of customizing videos, I like it because it sort of highlights the imperfections in the sculpt. And it doesn't really bother me with Kang this much, as I said much earlier, hours ago. I want a kind of a battle-worn look for Kang, so I'm not too fussed if there are imperfections in the smoothness of his armour. So I'm okay with that. Just a bit. Tiny bit of paint up in there. Just carve that bit off. There's also a bit there. But that's because I sculpted this on later, so it's rubbing against the elbow pad, isn't it? So I can just carve that down a bit and respray it. That's fine. But all in all, the paint rub looks okay. So there's something going on. So, yeah, see that corner's just too high when it goes into the socket there. Take that off. Where'd I put my knife? Me and my knife. So I'll tidy this up after the stream, but just to give a wee bit of a demonstration about what I mean when I say to eliminate paint rub, eliminate the rub. I fucking mean it. It's decent. It's good. Forgot to spray in there. That's fine. Looks pretty good from a paint rub perspective though. I'll tidy it up and come back at it. There's probably some more I can do around there. A lot of this is, you know, this up here is actually going to be hidden by his tunic, to be honest, so I don't need to worry too much about it. It's more the legs, knees. Oh! Phone on the floor. Apologies. Yeah, it's more that kind of stuff that I'm concerned about than the shoulders and upper arms. So far so good. Okay. So this stream has been 3 hours. Goodness me. So I might actually leave it there for this stream, and I will go off camera and do some of these things that I need to get in close to do, sort of tidy up some of the paint rubby bits and respray, and then hopefully I'll have another one. So don't know. Yeah, so I guess I'll just take a quick look at the chat, and then I'll leave you to it. So if you've got any questions for me, ask now, or forever hold your peace. Odiasu says, beautiful head sculpt, thank you very much. Thank you. It's mostly the work of the guy who did the Magus head, but yeah, thank you very much. Hoth Rebel 86 says, do you ever use wrestling figures for fodder? Not really. You know, I'm just not familiar with them. I don't know what size they are, you know. I don't collect them, so there we go. Dalek News says, Craig, are you drunk or something when you dropped that camera? Nope. Just dropped it. Knocked it over. Difficult business, this. Michael Leo says, your streams are awesome and I learn a lot from them. Thank you very much. I'm glad you do. I'm glad people get something out of this. So, thank you very much for joining me as I continue customizing Kang the Conqueror. Thank you all very much for your questions and your likes. Hint, hint, like. And please, if you haven't already, please do subscribe, and then you'll get notifications for when I go live again. Maybe in the next few days. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, pour on the power. Bye bye. Now, does anyone know how I actually stop this?